G'day, welcome to Todd's Kitchen and welcome to my first video in 4K. That's right, I'm now in Ultra HD 4K. I hope you don't see too many blemishes, but today's recipe is so simple but super delicious. Pressure cookers are one of those wonderful devices that everyone should own. They're incredibly simple to use and make cooking so easy and so fast. In an oven, it could take about an hour, hour and a half, sometimes even 2 hours to cook a large chicken. But in a pressure cooker, literally takes 25 minutes. And you get very similar results, sometimes the same results that you get from having it in a slow cooker, which is set to 4 or 8 hours. The chicken comes out so moist and so delicious. So join me today as I make my version on how to cook a whole chicken in a pressure cooker. Okay, so for this recipe, obviously we're going to be using a pressure cooker. Now you can use any brand that you like, they pretty much all work the same. Some have more features, some have less. Just get the best one you can afford. And now next for the chicken. Now use any chicken that you like, preferably say 1.7 to about 2 kilos. This one's just over 2 kilos. And the big question people ask is, do you wash it or do you not wash a raw chicken? And the simple answer is no, you don't. Washing raw chicken before cooking it can increase your risk of food poisoning. The splashing of water from raw chicken under the tap can spread up bacteria onto the hands, surfaces, clothing, and even cooking equipment. And the big thing is, water droplets can travel more than 50 centimeters in every direction. So by washing it really makes no difference whatsoever, except that it actually increases your risk of food poisoning. Okay, so we have our chicken, and again, not washed. Now you can season it any way you like, and you can even use stuffing as well. There's literally hundreds of stuffing recipes out there, so if you do choose to stuff it, you just make sure when you've stuffed it up, you tie the legs up, and that just keeps the stuffing in. But for this particular recipe, I'm not going to stuff it because I like mine without stuffing. So I'm just going to use some very simple ingredients, but I'm going to go for a very simple rub on this chicken. Of course, you can go all out. It's really down to personal taste. For example, I'm just going to use just some regular chicken seasoning. So I'm just going to sprinkle that on top. Of course, you don't have to season it at all, to be honest. But it just adds a little bit of flavour, and well, it saves probably about $1 or $2 a kilo on the chicken by seasoning the chicken yourself. Because the pre-seasoned chickens are actually rather expensive. So to keep it economical, this is the perfect way to do it. And just simply going to add just some pepper, and of course some salt. And my favourite ingredient, garlic. I'm using minced garlic, so I'm just going to just pat that on top and inside. Put a little bit inside as well, just so we get that nice garlic flavour, and we're just going to rub that all in. Okay, so next we want to sear the top of the chicken, and that's just going to help keep all those lovely flavours inside, and it also infuses the rub that we just put on top. Now it's very easy to do. Now mine happens to come with a sear function, which is perfect, but you can also do it in a fry pan. You really just need to sear the top of the chicken for say 5 minutes maximum. So I'm just going to sear mine on high. Okay, so we're just going to grab our chicken and be it a fry pan or the sear function of your pressure cooker. Just put it face down, and we're just going to let that sear away for 5 minutes. The preparation for this is incredibly simple. Okay, so our chicken's been seared away for about 5 minutes now. So we're just going to turn her over. As you can see, we have that nice caramelized top there, so it's going to be perfect. Okay, so all we have to do now, I've got some chicken broth or chicken stock. So I'm going to add 1.5 cups of that in. So that'll make sure it keeps nice and moist. And again, this is just a personal taste, but I'm going to add just some more garlic. So I'm going to put some on top, let some go down into the broth so I get that nice infused garlic flavour. So when it comes to the garlic, when someone says add 2 tablespoons, I usually add 4 or 5 because I really love garlic, but that honestly comes down to personal taste. Okay, so all we have to do now is we're going to place on our lid. And of course, this being a pressure cooker recipe, just make sure it's set to seal. Okay, so I'm just going to push the pressure cooker option, choose our time, and for this size chicken, you're looking at about 25 minutes. So I'm going to set it for 25 minutes and we're done. It is that simple. What I really love about a pressure cooker, it's kind of like a slow cooker, but so much faster. It literally takes about 25 to 30 minutes as opposed to 4 hours for similar results. Or doing it in the oven, it takes about an hour, hour and a half in the oven, but in a pressure cooker, 25 minutes. But as with all chicken, I'm going to use an instant thermometer when it's done just to triple check, because you can never be too careful when it comes to chicken. So if it is slightly under temp, I'll put it in for another 5 minutes, but 25 minutes should be more than enough. But always eye on the side of caution and double check the internal temperature. But the fact remains, you're still saving so much time by changing an hour and a half cook on say a regular oven down to about 25 minutes. Okay, so it's just finished. Now it's saying 2 minutes because it's been 2 minutes since it's stopped. And I can already smell that delicious cooked chicken. Now you think with a pressure cooker, well, you're not going to smell anything because it's all kept inside. But it does release a little bit of pressure now and then, just to stop it from exploding. So you've got the lovely smell of the slow cooker, but with the speed of a pressure cooker. Okay, so now we just do the fun part, and that's release our pressure. Just be very careful. It always frightens me when I do this. So just do it slowly. So you can do it a little bit at a time. You don't do it all at once, and then you can just open it up completely. So once the steam has completely released, and as you can see this valve here has also gone down, that tells you that the pressure has completely gone down, because that little knob, when the pressure is high, it stays up. So once it goes down, that means there's no pressure left in, and all we have to do is open it up. Oh, look at that. It smells delicious. Now you can already see how the meat has moved away from the bone just there, just like I would in a slow cooker. So this is what I mean by an instant thermometer. We're just going to stick that in the thickest part of the meat, which is the breast. And we want it to be above 74 degrees Celsius or 165 degrees Fahrenheit. If not, just put the pressure cooker back on just for a few more minutes. But assuming it's at that temperature, we're just simply going to take it out and let it rest for 5 minutes, and it's ready to carve up. Now would you just look at this delicious pull-apart style chicken. It is so moist, so delicious. The smell really is fantastic. And to think, this literally took 25 minutes of cooking time. Now, as you can see, the legs are dripping off the side. That's because when I pulled the chicken out, the legs just fell straight off, just like they would in a slow cooking recipe. But for 25 minutes, that is moist, perfectly cooked, and simply delish.